footwork.
I think he worked on that move. The old bank it off the backboard to yourself. 1 point lead for Xavier. Back in Washington, D.C., first round action in the East region. The number 6 seed Xavier with a real struggle against the 11 seed Washington. Both teams in the double bonus because the next foul against Xavier will create that situation. Full complement of timeouts, plenty to go around. The arrow points to Xavier.
Key for Xavier is force McCullough out, let him touch it a distance from the basket, be physical with him. You may see dribble drives at the end if they can't get the entry pass.
Shot clock at 8.
Good help.
Tried to go into McCullough. He wound up with it off the deflection.
Williams, great effort. Unfortunately for him, it bounced back to the big guy.
16 for McCullough. Washington back up by 1 with 3:20 remaining. Braggs couldn't save it.
Wow, not the kind of entry pass you'd like. Lumpkin pretty good as Gary didn't get the right angle. But this is just a fortuitous bounce as you see the help weak side, something they've done well all day long. And Todd never jams it, always up soft and gentle.
Watts to Green with Luton, Wooten, and McCullough. Watts, tough shot. He made it, rattling it in, going to his left.
Boy, how tough was that one, Sean? The slide just held himself square long enough for the release.
Darnell Williams down the lane, missed it with McCullough contesting, then Posey was fouled on the floor.
I think they may give this to Green. McCullough, unfortunately, the reaction by Todd, couldn't get himself back down and get up.
.246 remaining, Washington by 3. The Huskies clad in purple. Thalo Green of Washington just called for his 4th foul. And it's a double bonus situation now. So James Posey will shoot 2. He has 13, now 14 points. This has been a tight game throughout. The Washington lead was 8 at halftime. Both teams essentially in the double bonus. The next foul on Xavier is 10 and a 2-shot opportunity for Washington. Plenty of timeouts. Xavier has the arrow pointing in its direction.
Number 12,
one on the leg of Watts, so he goes to the bench to have that taken care of. And Dan Dickow comes in for Washington.
And that happened in front of us when he dove for the loose basketball. They've been taking care of that during the timeout. Good effort by him.
And welcome those of you who have watched North Carolina defeat Navy 88-52. The Tar Heels, the first team to win in the 1998 NCAA Tournament. First win in the tournament for Bill Guthridge as the head coach. Number 1 seed in the East. Washington, the number 11 seed in the East, with a 1-point lead on the 6th seed Xavier as we approach 2.5 minutes remaining.
Motion 4 round 1. Nice help. See Posey looming in the back. Braggs a lot of body on the big guy.
Surprised Bob Bender didn't use one of those timeouts he has to get Watts back into the ball game quickly instead of taking him out just to have the blood worked on.
I don't know if he's ready yet. I see him standing over there. I think you're right. He's such a valuable weapon for them.
Yeah, you don't want him out at serious crunch time. Lenny Brown missed a long one, but Braggs ran it down. Now they're stuck with Watts out of the game here on this possession.
I think they weren't finished with him. That was the problem, Sean.
So they could have used the timeout to take the time to get it ready.
The way they're going, he wouldn't have been ready either.
15 on the shot clock. Brown missed a pull-up from the foul line. Out of bounds, last touch by Xavier.
Bender getting him in now.
Number 24,
Here comes Donald Watts back in for the freshman Dickow. Mention how close this game has been. It's been tied on 8 occasions. There have been 9 lead changes.
They had 1 5-second. Look at this help.
Tough catch by Watts, and then a foul called and a reach in on Lenny Brown, and he is fouled out.
Oof. Boy, that's one they almost had. Good job defensively. A gamble pass. A different team without Lenny Brown run the show out there.
He's their 2nd leading scorer for the season. He's their leading 3-point shooter.
Xavier is over
Really
the
nothing to
second
go to
team
here,
foul
Sean.
line.
I mean, just running to the middleman, the four-man on the press, and they're very lucky to get it in and get to the free throw line.
Brown fouls out. 10 points, and Watts.
Donald Watts at the Husky
Kind of a tough day of the line. 7 out of 12. Shoots 2. There's his dad, Slick Watts, the former Seattle Supersonic, for those of you just joining us.
Oh, and you do that with your brother, I'm sure. At his game, you know how a father feels. Makes them both.
3-point game. Xavier's best 3-point shooter is just fouled out. What a terrific game this has been to open the action here in Washington, D.C. A minute and a half. Lead the 6th seed Xavier by 3. Watts just called for his second foul for the Huskies, and that sends Posey to the line. James has 15 points. He's one of the best free throw shooters in the Atlantic 10, 82%, number 3 in the conference.
Two-lane violations. They should make sure that they stand still on the next one.
6 out of 7 now from the line today for Posey. The winner meets the winner of the game next here in Washington, D.C. In South Carolina and Richmond. Tonight, Indiana and Oklahoma, Connecticut and Fairleigh Dickinson. It's a 1-point lead for Washington.
With quick inbounds, diffuse the press.
Watts stepped on the sideline in front of the Xavier bench as he tried to get through that double team.
They never stop it. I mean, the very good pressing team wasn't as effective all day long against Bobby Bender. His team showed great preparation. Xavier now with the timeout, a full one.
Bob Bender's team just committed its 26th turnover despite the turnovers. The Huskies lead by 1 with 1:23 remaining in Washington, D.C. Washington leads by 1 despite the fact that the Huskies have turned it over 26 times and have gone just 10 out of 19 from the free throw line. The key has been Washington has shot 53% from the floor. That's Joe Prosser, the mother of Xavier coach Skip Prosser. Xavier with the ball, down by 1.
Usually trying to get Posey involved.
He has the ball now. Braggs on the court. Williams, Lumpkin, and Johnson. The ball kicked. They'll reset a fresh 35 for Xavier on the shot clock.
Possession with a new shot
Good
clock.
save, Sean, too, because Posey had a nice little dive to the box, presented himself to the basketball.
Mentioned Washington has shot 53% from the floor. Xavier 39%. The Huskies have won 33 games in a row when they've outshot their opponents. And they still have the lead as Lumpkin's 3 hit the rim and went over the backboard.
I think you got to put it on the floor, get to the goal a little bit, or get Posey on the box. And there's the mom. Oh, the anguish. Why did he choose this career?
X just 2 out of 15 from behind the arc today. And those who just joined us, Lenny Brown, their best 3-point shooter, is fouled out. 10 points.
1 minute to go in regulation.
1 minute left in regulation time. Washington trying to finish off the upset. Nearly a 10. It is 10 in the backcourt.
Wow, they had 10, but they got a foul.
Oh, my goodness.
Ooh, that was 10.
It was actually 11. The shot clock showed 24 when the whistle blew. And the dribbler Luton was just straddling midcourt. Now, of course, they don't go by the clock for the 10 count. The official goes by his own swing of the yard. But by the shot clock, they got 11 in the backcourt. And the foul instead on Posey, his 3rd. And another miss from the free throw line by Washington. Now 10 out of 20 from the line.
76% free throw shooter, too. Xavier's got to think, get it to the rim with the drive or Posey on the box.
Xavier down 1. There is the drive. Lumpkin, tough shot. He was fouled.
Now that's more like it. Take advantage. Give yourself a chance. If they seal it off, kick it out to somebody.
4 fouls now on Todd McCullough. So Green and McCullough of Washington have 4 each. And Lumpkin will shoot 2.
For Xavier, Gary Lumpkin at the line.
He's a 78% free throw shooter. Has 10 points today. The game is tied at 67 with 42 and a half remaining.
Washington, Bob Bender just signaled if he makes it, he wants a timeout. He's not going to permit his team to inbound and not be prepared for the press.
Xavier leads by 1. The 2 misses at the other end, followed by 2 free throws made by Gary Lumpkin, the junior from Newcastle, Delaware. 42 and a half seconds remaining. Timeout, Washington. First game of the day here in Washington, D.C. has been a dandy. Back and forth all afternoon. Xavier with a 1-point lead over Washington. Both teams in the double bonus. Xavier with 2 timeouts left. Washington has 3. The arrow still in favor of Xavier. And it'll be Washington ball, down by 1 with 42 and a half left.
And what they're doing now is it's important where Posey plays. He's on the inbounder. He sometimes drifts off and doubles up. Here he comes, the double. And they got to step and go. And they may have a 5-second. They force the timeout. Boy, do they put some pressure. You've got to do it. They got a 20. You've got to do a good job running the baseline and timing it with the dive to the basketball. They have struggled with turnovers all game.
Washington has had some thrilling endings this year. They had an excruciating loss against Stanford with Chris Weems of the Cardinal with the length of the floor in the final 5 seconds and hit a 3. For a final of 74-72 Stanford, and they won a game late against UCLA at home by 1, a win that really got them into the tournament. Game 2 of our quadruple header features action both the East and West regions. Utah State and Maryland coming up in Sacramento at approximately 2:42. Again, trouble inbounding. They get it into Woot. Now Dion Luke. 30 on the shot clock. Game clock now 35.
Watts generally maybe with some penetration. McCullough's got to get to the block. Ball side.
McCullough playing with 4 fouls, guarded by T.J. Johnson, who has 4. Green with the ball has 4. Shot clock at 12.
1-4. The double.
Washington needs to start looking toward the basket. The pull-up by Woot. 11 seconds left. Washington retakes the lead.
Wow.
Timeout called by the Huskies.
They were stuck. Watts with the double got a little bit confused. And Dion Wooten, who shot the basketball extremely well during the course of the game. Well, you need somebody to step up and show onions. And how about this one? A little bounce, the draw, the trigger, and some cut.
Just as the full timeout is about to end, Skip Prosser asked for a 20-second timeout, so he wants a bit more time to draw up the last second play. His team down by a point, leading the length of the court with 11.2 left. You'd have to imagine any play that he would drop would start with Lumpkin penetrating.
Now, I think the counter by Washington, because they put the 2 big guys in for that very reason, don't let him get in too deep. I would think if Fremerling comes out on the floor, his man should take it with the dribble. If that's Posey, it's ideal. All the prayers requested here on the Xavier side by the mom, but this is an extension of the floor by Washington. The quick push, there's plenty of time. You can run a set, nice screen, get Posey to the box.
Xavier, the trendy mid-seeded pick to do some damage in the tournament, and all the pre-tournament prognostications. Hanging on for dear life now. Lumpkin, tough shot, well short, bobbled and caught by McCullough.
He was out of bounds when he got it.
He was out of bounds with 1.7 seconds left. Bob Bender wants a timeout. Xavier wanted one as well. And they charge the timeout to Xavier. Now they're all pointing at each other saying they wanted a timeout too. Charge it to them. We'll sort it out when we come back.
Well, mommies die for their boys, and Ms. Prosser a little bit upset with the outcome, but the penetration, Washington went big for this very reason. Forced a tough shot and rebound, but unfortunately, as you'll see, that foot on the baseline, 1.7, plenty of time. Now we get another timeout.
20 called by Bob Bender. That's it for timeouts. Neither team has a timeout left. With 1.7 seconds left. And that's time to catch and shoot. It's time to lob. It's time to do a lot of things.
You can actually bounce it once. They run a inbounds, both guys on each box, and they loop him out. Now, it's usually one of the bigger people, not Posey. Now, let's see how they set up. They got Posey on a wing. This is a different look on the inbounds. You may get Johnson with a little screen for Posey.
Lumpkin inbound. Johnson right underneath the basket.
Vision's going to be deterred now with the big guy on the ball for Lumpkin.
Xavier down one. They go right underneath. Shot blocked. Posey's follow blocked as well. And Washington wins. And the Xavier bench can't believe there wasn't a foul call.
Sean, they went big. The gamble worked. Bob Bender, Femerling, and the big guy, McCullough on the floor. First, Femerling takes away Vision, and then the big people underneath able to defuse, and exultation on the one end. Skip Prosser, obviously dejected. Look at the coach. He never got up that high when he played. Oh, goodness. Winners bound. And unfortunately, the counter. Not a joyous moment.
For Skip Prosser, who thought there was a foul. You could read his lips. Foul. There were 41 fouls called in the game, but not the one when the Prosser family needed it most. And Xavier, the 6th seed, is out in the first round. Washington, in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 1986, has its first win in an NCAA game since 1984, when they beat Nevada, Reno, and Duke before losing to Dayton in the Sweet 16 14 years ago. They'll have a chance to advance to the Sweet 16 if they can beat the winner of our next game, South Carolina and Richmond, coming up next in Washington, D.C. Tonight, Indiana and Oklahoma, Connecticut, and Fairleigh Dickinson. The Chevrolet players of the game, Dion Luton with the big shot to give the Huskies the lead to stay, with 11 seconds remaining, and James Posey, brilliant, leading the comeback for Xavier in the second half. Washington a winner by 1. We'll rejoin Greg Gumbel in a moment.